Love is a choice. How radical of an idea is that? Falling in love. I fell in love. I fell madly in love. Love at first sight. Almost sounds like an out of body experience, something that we don't have any control on. And sometimes it certainly seems like that. I've been there a time or two. But I'm going to propose that love indeed is a choice that we make initially and as we go forward. For some, it starts as a very emotional uh, event, process, relationship. The emotions take over and provide the energy going forward. And then, as time goes by, as the days and weeks and months go by, you start to get to know somebody. You get to know their strengths. Sometimes you get to know their weaknesses, and some people focus on the strengths. Some people are caught up with the weaknesses, and then it doesn't last very long. Or if it does, it becomes a miserable relationships. For others, it starts as more of a just an introduction, perhaps turning into friends, and as you get to know somebody, you start to have feelings for that person, and that relationship develops a little more slowly. You may find that you have different interests in common, hiking, swimming, camping, reading, whatever it would be. And you enjoy a lot of the same things and enjoy spending time together, and you go from there. Back in my college days, I attended a weekend conference of sorts that was more than a few years ago, and one of the topics was relationships. One of the people that got up and speak stated that he had married a girl without ever meeting her, and that seems pretty radical, and it's not something I would suggest. But it has happened many places, many times over the years with mail order brides and that type of thing. Uh, this guy was from India, I think, and he was living in the USA. His parents had arranged for a marriage, and he went along with it, went back to India, married the girl, and the last I heard, they were living happily ever after. And his message was that love is a choice, and sometimes it sounds perhaps a bit radical and a bit too simplistic, uh, but in the end, it really is. Some of us, some people, at some point in time in a relationship, when things get tough, they decide to stop loving somebody. That the anger builds, the disagreements build, and rather than compromising and talking it out, the two personalities uh, just go their separate ways. Uh, but there again, it is a choice. I am presently living in a foreign country. I'm living in the Philippines. Many foreigners from different countries come to the Philippines, Thailand, China, Korea, different places to meet girls and marry them. And some are younger, they want to start a family. Others are retirement age, and they're looking for something that uh, they didn't seem to be able to find back in their home country, and that was love. I have met many foreigners here in the Philippines who've told me that they came here, they met the girl that they've been talking to and corresponding with for some time. They met her and decided that she was the one. So it was a choice, and they over time they got to know each other a little bit better. Married, sometimes they stayed in this country, retired here. Sometimes they went back. They were still working age. They went back, or even they were retired in the U.S. They bring them back to the U.S. or Europe or wherever, bring them back to their home country. My observation is that more than half of those relationships work out, and they're very happy relationships for the most part. There's always issues in different relationships over time. And that's not a scientific observation. It's just from meeting the different people. I know relationships that haven't worked out. I have a friend in the U.S. whose uncle came over, brought somebody from the Philippines. After a couple of years, they divorced. I know of a number of stories like that. He came back and married another one, and it's been working out since then. So there is risk in every relationships anywhere in the world. In the end, it is a choice, and sometimes it's a business relationship. Uh, Sometimes it is a very loving relationship. Sometimes it is a more functional relationship. The man or woman uh, gets something, and the spouse gets something. Sometimes it is financial. Sometimes it is for security purposes. There's lots of different reasons for relationships, and usually it's not. Oftentimes, it's a combination of all those. I think surveys around the world show that one of the most important things to females is security. And if a man has a good job, good background, whatever, that provides her some security, more security than she presently has, she's willing to make that choice, make commitments, make sacrifices, whatever it takes to make uh, to go on with that relationship. There are challenges, there are advantages and disadvantages with relationships with people from different cultures. It might be a different religion, a different language, so that there's communication issues. It might be the food might be different. You each prefer different types of food. You prefer different types of entertainment, different types of music, different types of television shows. I know several couples that they've got two televisions in their house, one for the Philippine programs, one for the cable, more the Western programs. But in the end, it's a choice. A relationship is a choice, and if you use the proper interpersonal skills to build that relationship in a positive way, it can be a very rewarding relationship. I will suggest that if you are planning to have a relationship with somebody from a foreign culture, that you take some time to get to know the person, get to know what they like and don't like, get to know something about the culture, get to know something about the person, and think about it beforehand too. What compromises are you willing to make? Uh, how much effort are you willing to put into learning a little more about that other culture? In order to communicate, well, you need to learn a little bit of that language. Um, I've had a number of experiences here in the Philippines uh, with people just ordering that speak English, looking at condominiums to rent or buy, trying to order food, and they speak pretty good English, understand pretty good English, but because we use vowels differently, in fact, I just came from looking at a condo, and I was asking a person on the about can I grill on the balcony, and she said yes, yes. Just just advise the administrative office that you're going to be drilling. So she kept hearing me say drill, as in to use a drill bit to make a hole in the wall, where I was talking about cooking, grilling. The same thing with map or mop, a fan or fun. And oftentimes, conversation uh, can get a bit confusing and a bit comical once you finally understand what the other person is trying to say, trying to get across. Take some time and get to know that culture, get to know that person. Uh, I know people there again who made that decision early on very quickly. That's the person for me. They had talked online for a year or so, and they came over, met them, decided that's the person for me, and they got married, and in many, many cases turns out to be a great relationship. I go back to my first statement. Love is a choice. And when you make those choices, it's good to understand that with anybody, with any choice that you make, even if it's a job change, that it is a choice, and you're going to have to adapt in certain ways. The other person will have to adapt in certain ways. But if you go in with it, into that relationship with the right attitude and work at it, you should be able to have a great relationship. There have been hundreds of people, organizations, scientists, psychologists, trying to put together tests and personality tests to test people to determine what types of people make the best couples. And for all the efforts that they do, in the end, it's a decision, it's a choice. Um, if depends upon your personality. If you require somebody that thinks like you, that wants to do all the things that you want to do, uh, then you should go find somebody that has similar interests and is involved and able to do the types of activities that you want. If if those types of things aren't that important, there are many very good relationships where the two people don't have that much in common, and it seems to me that like that would be a huge, huge challenge. But I'm aware of relationships like that, and it really depends upon the two personalities. In the end, it's a choice that you make. I am in the Philippines, but I'm not talking just about relationships in the Philippines. There are a number of people here. Age difference is not as big of an issue here in this culture as it is in many parts of the world. And I know older men will often tell the retired guy will often tell the girl in her 30s or 40s, well, our age difference, and even some in their 20s, and they always say, and I keep hearing this over and over from Filipinos, age doesn't matter. Age doesn't matter. Well, it does in some ways, but if you have a relationship with a person with a big age difference, there again, it's a choice. Sometimes it's a more of a business relationship, but there's a sense of love also. Sometimes the older person uh, can supply stability, security. Uh, the spouse gets financial security. The family may be included in that financial security and stability. Brings them up in life financially. And the older spouse may gain something that he can't find in their old country, the USA or Europe or wherever, is somebody that's willing to take care of that person. And a number of Filipinos told me they understand what they call in the USA, they call them old people's homes or retirement homes, nursing homes. Uh, Children, families don't take care of their older family members in the USA, and I think in many parts of Europe as well. Varies around the world. And most of us don't want to end up in a nursing home. You come over here, you can find somebody who's younger than you, or even if they're your same age, who is loving, who is caring. It's part of the Philippine culture and the culture in many other Asian countries, who will help take care of you. And that can be very important as you mature in life. I do think you should think about some of your priorities before you get into a long-term, real serious relationship. Little things like, do you want to live in a city? Do you want to live in the country? Most of the foreigners I know that move over here, meet a girl, end up moving to the area that she lives in. And I did not go on dating sites and that type of thing before I came over. I didn't want where a person lived to determine where I was going to live. And I came over here, and very easy to make friends here, and to find people just because they're so friendly. And the same is probably true in many foreign countries. But write down some of your important thoughts about that city or country, religion, language, the communication skills, what you eat. I met one foreigner. He's married and to a Filipina, and she prefers her Philippine food. He has taught her how to cook Thai food, and so she cooks him Thai food. She cooks him uh, herself the Philippine food primarily, and so those types of things are important. Uh, I don't eat a lot of seafood. A lot of people here like the dried fish and all that type of thing. Um, I've tried to get some of my friends to try some of my Western food, and we like what we grew up with. Uh, the taste of something, the texture of something, the color of something. Sometimes you put some new food in your mouth, and the taste isn't so bad. The texture is so odd that it's like this shouldn't be in my mouth. Sometimes it's the color, and so how important are those things? You will need to compromise, just like in any relationship anywhere. It requires some effort and choices. You make positive choices, go forward in a positive way. Anyway, those are just some thoughts on love in all over the world, especially related to dating and having a serious long-term relationship with somebody from a foreign country, a different culture. Think about those things and certainly don't let it stop you from going forward. But it's important to think about it, I think. And anyway, look forward to some of your comments. Thank you for listening, watching. Please, please subscribe. Please share the video. Safe travels to you all wherever you're at, and we'll see you next time.